sometimes I do these things where I go on a mass paperback hunt at the used bookstore and I try to find some books that I may want to add to my shelves. Maybe they're by a particular author, maybe they're just something that I think is interesting. And I actually have a mass paper book shelf over here that is kind of hidden, and I just really enjoy reading them. I think I will probably collect more later on. My name is Makita, and this is Mrs. R's Books and Things, and I want to thank you so much for joining me here. If you have yourself a cup of coffee or tea, come take a seat and let's talk about these books. I went on one of my little mass paperback, book runs, and I did a haul. How does that make sense? I went on a mass paperback adventure, and I want to share the books that I got with you. So one of the benefits to this that I absolutely love is that it's inexpensive. I love buying books. I love buying new books, but I also like buying used books. It's just because I like I don't even know what word it is, but I like the old but new feeling. And I think that it's great to invest in classic or older things and put them to use. And so I really enjoy going out and checking out what the used bookstores have and purchasing those. We lived in an area one time where there were so many books for like $1 in the used bookstore, and I would just go in and I would spend $20 and come out with 20 books, or $40 and come out with 40 books. The type of books they were such great books. Oh my gosh, such high quality books, such great books, and I just loved it. So that I think that kind of fed part of that for me, and I haven't stopped. I still do that. So this time I spent less than $20 and I got a few books. This is not the bookstore that had the dollar books, even though I just found out that there's a bookstore close to me that has a sale tomorrow for dollar books, and I haven't been there yet, so we'll see what happens. This particular haul focused on mainly one of the authors that I really enjoy reading, and that is Debbie Macomber. Hope I'm saying her name right. But I've been reading her books for a really, very, very long time. I don't think she's considered an inspirational romance author. Maybe contemporary romance. They're all closed door, off the page, at least from what I've read so far. They're such beautiful stories. They make me laugh. They make me cry. They're so entertaining. I picked up A Good Yarn by Debbie Macomber. I already have this book. I do. But the cover is not this cover. I should show you what the cover looks like. This is the book that I already have, A Good Yarn by Debbie Macomber. And this is the one that I just saw. And I think this is so cute. So I picked it up. See? Now, here's the thing. I didn't really need this book. Just like, technically I could have read this at the library. But I really enjoyed, why does one look thicker than the other? Well, we'll see. The thing about Debbie Macomber's books is she does write a lot of standalones, but she also writes series. I read The Shop on Blossom Street by Debbie Macomber, and the book A Good Yarn is the second book in the series. There's a third book that I can't seem to find. I kind of want to buy them used, but if I have to buy it new, I will. I can't find the third book, but then I have the fourth book in the series, and then I have to get the rest of them. All of these, besides, I think this one I bought new, but these I spent like $2 and some change for all of them. This one was $3. But I love this. I love just like going and, it reminds me of when I was a kid and they used to give us like $5 and tell us to go to the store or whatever. You could get so much for your money. And so I just enjoy kind of like these remembrances, these things that put me in remembrance of some of the whimsical portions of my life. I like it because I've gotten a lot of Nicholas Sparks books this way, and Brenda Jackson's books this way. A lot of books this way, honestly. I think I have maybe 60 mass paperback books. I'm not sure. The point in me showing this to you was that this is a part of the series. I'm getting ready to start book 2. Now I have to decide which one am I going to read from. I'm probably going to read from this one still and like have this one on my shelf because it's so pretty. And okay, so this is going to be the first book that I've purchased that I already know. No, that's not true. Okay, it's the second book that I purchased that I already know I have a copy of, but I bought the pretty one. The first book that I did that with, and this is kind of off topic, but I'm going to share it with you anyway, is The Portrait of Dorian Gray. And the reason why is because my daughter was reading the classic one, the Penguin Classic version. We were reading it together, and I decided, hey, if I'm going to buy another copy for myself, then I'm going to get this one because it's really pretty. I kind of am thinking about getting many other classics like this. However, my deep concern, and I don't know if they are glued or sewn. It looks like they're sewn, but my concern is that the pages will fall out. If they're sewn, then I don't have to worry about it. Back to my used books. The other book that I purchased was, oh, let me tell you what this book's about because I didn't even tell you. Well, I don't want to ruin it. Let me just tell you that the series, the Shop on Blossom Street series, is about a group of women that come together at a yarn shop. They don't really know each other, but because they keep coming together to learn how to knit and to spend time there, they become friends. And then, well, some of them become friends, kind of. And we learn about their lives, right? And we see them in this neighborhood and their experience. And so I don't know what's going to happen in book 2, but I am going to read the entire series because I enjoy Deborah Montgomery's books. All right. This other one is called it has a Walmart sticker on it, but I didn't get it from Walmart. Okay. This other one is called Thursdays at 8. All right. This one says, Claire has just been through a devastating divorce. She's driven by anger and revenge until she learns something about her ex-husband that forces her to look deep inside for forgiveness and compassion she's rejected, and for the person she used to be. Elizabeth is widowed in her late 50s, a successful professional, a woman who determined not to waste another second of her life. And if that should include romantic possibilities, well, why not? Karen is in her 20s, the years for taking risks, testing your dreams. Her dream is to be an actor. But what if her parents think she should be more like her sister, the very respectable Victoria? And Julia is turning 40 this year. Her husband's career is established, her kids are finally in their teens, and she just started her own business. Everything's going according to plan until she gets pregnant. So it started off, I should have read this part. It says, every Thursday at 8, 4 women meet for breakfast and to talk, to tell their stories, recount their sorrows and their joys, to offer each other encouragement and unstinting support. That sounds good to me. That's why I got that one, actually, because I was standing there and there were like 20 Debbie Montgomery books, and I was like, which ones do I get? Because I want to get a few of them. And I read this one and it sounded really good, so I got that. All right. The other one I got, these other 2 I got. So I have one book called The Manning Sisters, and I decided to get The Manning Brides, and then they had The Manning Grooms. So I got it because I'm like, if we got The Manning Sisters, I'm even wondering, is there a Manning Brothers book? Because if there is, then I may need to pick that one up too. But we got The Manning Brides and The Manning Grooms, and I'm expecting that, I'm suspecting that this is a series. It's like 2 brothers, 2 brides, 2 wonderful stories, 2 bachelors, 2 brides. And I didn't read the back, but we can. So it says, 2 brothers and the women they marry. Rich Manning and Jamie Warren have always been friends and nothing but friends. However, that changes when she asks him to father the child she so desperately wants. Rich agrees if she'll marry him because he thinks their marriage of inconvenience could become a real marriage instead. His brother Paul, a grieving widow with 3 small children, turns to Leah Baker for help and comfort. When the comfort begins to grow into something else, Paul discovers that he wants more than a stand-in wife. Sounds good. Okay, next. Jason Manning, a reluctant groom and an impulsive one. Jason Manning, what did we have here? We had Rich and Paul. Okay. Jason Manning is content with his life as a bachelor, a slob, and a sports fan. Then a precarious teen, Carrie Whiston, decides to play matchmaker, introducing him to her mother. To her relief, Charlotte is as uninterested in marriage as he is. But Jason's feeling starts to change once he gets to know his bride on the loose. James Wilkins was almost a Manning groom because he almost married one of the Manning sisters with the broken engagement behind him. Oh no, I'm ruining the Manning sisters book. I'm gonna forget. With the broken engagement behind him, he spends New Year's Eve in Las Vegas, where he meets Summer Lawton. She just suffered a painful betrayal, and James promises her that in a year she'll be over it. To prove his point, he makes a date to meet her in Vegas same time next year, except it turns out to be more than a date. It's a wedding. All right, so I got that. And then this one has nothing to do with David McComber. This one is, I was holding it right. This one is The Circle by David Eggers. We read this as a part of my book club in January this year. When I was reading it, because I was actually listening to the audiobook, and I remember saying, if I could get my hands on this book and put it in my shelves, I will. Right on my shelves, I will. But the thing is, I didn't want to get the hardcover, and I didn't want to spend like $30 on it or anything like that. When I saw it in the mass paperback version, I was like, oh, this is wonderful. This is wonderful, because this is one of those books that like give you something to really think about. It talks about this idea of using social media as an economy, and starting off with just a really innocent artistic idea, right? What we see, without giving the book away, is that sometimes, and it's a major motion picture, so I'm wondering if you've seen it. I haven't seen it. But what we see is that sometimes things turn out to be a bit more serious than the original creators meant for them to be, and it's a dystopian. And I think it's a dystopian novel. So I can't read the back because there's a sticker covering this, but I can read what it does say. It says, when May Holland is hired to work for The Circle, the world's most powerful internet company, she feels she's been given the opportunity of a lifetime. Even as life beyond the campus grows distant, even as a strange encounter with a colleague leaves her shaken, even as her role at The Circle becomes increasingly public, what begins as a captivating story of a woman's ambition and idealism soon becomes a heart-racing novel of suspense, raising questions about memory, history, privacy, democracy, and the limits of human knowledge. I peeled the sticker off so I could read it to you. I enjoyed reading this book. I've already read it. I enjoyed reading it. I did not do a review on it yet. I will, but I did enjoy reading this book. And I paused a lot when I was listening to it. I was like, oh my gosh, what if they did that? This is crazy. Like, I had so much commentary on this book that when I saw it in the store, I was like, yes. Treasure. Okay, and then finally, the last book that I got is not a mass paperback book. However, it is one of my favorite authors, which is Francine Rivers. And this book is called Lolita's Garden. Francine Rivers is a historical fiction inspirational writer, okay? This is considered Christian fiction. I have loved so many of her books. Recently, we did it's like a book exchange type deal with the Homeschool Mom Book Club. and I wrapped up one of her books and gave it because they asked us to give one of our favorite books of all time, and that was one of them. And so I wrapped it up. So I picked up this book because, again, I love used books. I would buy it, you know, brand new too. I don't have a problem with that, but I love that I found it. It was only $4.50, and it says, "Once Lolita's garden was a place of beauty where flowers bloomed and hope thrived. It was her refuge for the deep wounds inflicted by a devastating war, her sanctuary where she knelt before loving God and prayed for her children who couldn't understand her silent sacrifices. At 84, Lolita is alone. Her beloved garden is in ruins. Allie, there's a stain on it. All her efforts to reconcile with her children have been fruitless. She voices her despair to a loving father, her only friend, and God brings a wind of change through unlikely means. One, a college student who thinks he has all the answers. The other, the granddaughter, Lolita. So her name is not Lolita. Her name is Lota. Lota never hoped to know. But can the devastation wrought by keeping painful family secrets be repaired before she runs out of time? The thing about Francine Rivers is the way that she writes is very realistic, right? Yes, we deal with, you know, the love of God and everything, but it's very, very realistic. It is not this superficial experience in general. It is one that is very deep. And sometimes she writes about topics that you may not expect an inspirational or Christian writer to write about. But she has made me cry. I have cried. And I have read her books in different phases of my life. I read them when I first got married 24 years ago. I read them again, like at my 8th year of marriage, again at 15 years. Like, I have so many different books of hers that I've read. I was excited to see this one, and so I picked it up. I do have some books that I have not read of hers, but like a few other authors, she is one of the ones that I want to read all of her writings. Her, Debbie McComber, Christina C. Jones, and those are for like contemporary. She's historical fiction. Debbie McComber is considered, in my opinion, contemporary romance. Christina C. Jones, she is romance, but some people call it Black romance, and that's because a lot of the characters are Black. However, she does have other characters in there as well. I don't even know if that was needed as an explanation. But anyway, who else did I say I wanted to read? Not Brenda Jackson, but there's another one, and I have quite a few of her books. I haven't even read any of them, but I said I want to read them. One of the things that I know I'm going to read all of Octavia Butler's books and Toni Morrison's books. I can do another video on the authors that I plan to read their entire catalog. If you're interested, you can post that down in the comments below. But yeah, this was my my little used book haul. You know, I went and I picked up these, and it's they were less than $20, and they will provide a wonderful experience for me. So, do you ever go shopping for used books? What do you think about mass paperbacks? I know some people hate them. I enjoy having them because I like to tuck them away in my bag. I also like hardcovers and all the other books as well, but I do like mass paperback books. So let me know what you think. And if you were new here and this is your first time, thank you so much for joining me. Consider liking if you liked the video and subscribing. And if this is not your first time being here, then thank you so much for grabbing your tea, coffee, or wine, taking time to sit with me and to discuss these books. I hope to see you again next time. And until then, bye.